What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of JK Sports. Kevin Humphreys joining me as he does every episode. It's Jack Feldman. Jack, we had a full weekend of college and NFL football. NBA basketball was back. Let's get right into it. What was your favorite thing that you saw this weekend?
I mean, probably the BYU game.
All right.
Bias there.
Right.
I loved watching BYU able to face some adversity. A lot of adversity, actually. Being
Right.
down 2 scores, their starting running back gets hurt. They have to play their safety from last year at running back.
Yep.
And they just got it done. They look good doing it too.
8-0.
8-0. And I feel like anytime BYU gets the nation says, "Oh, BYU can't do this," they go out that week and prove that they can do it. Because the question with BYU this time was, can Bear Bachmeier throw the football not in play action? He drops back and he throws for 300-plus yards against Iowa State. And so that's what I liked watching the most, is just BYU winning in multiple different ways throughout this whole season.
100%. I mean, after Iowa State, I was thinking, the roadmap to Bear potentially being in New York at the end of the season it's not going to happen, but it's not like insane to think about. If they're able to go on the road and beat Texas Tech, and then they go on the road and beat Cincinnati, and if Bear balls out in both of those games, maybe we can get into this at the end of the podcast, but this Heisman Trophy race is wide open still. There are so many guys that I feel like could win the Heisman Trophy. We'll probably talk about a lot of them just going through the weekend of college football that was. But, Bear's story, with everything that BYU went through, with losing Retzloff, in the summertime, getting Bear in the portal, and then, him learning the offense over the summer, still fresh, new to college football, but the dude just goes out there and wins ball games. It's impressive to watch.
Right. Yeah. And he's an elite company too. I mean, it's him, Jalen Hurts, and Trevor Lawrence to be the only freshman to start 8-0.
Yeah.
And so when you put him with those guys, you're like, whoa, wait, is this guy legit? And so far he has proven that, in my
100%.
opinion. And if he can go out and beat Texas Tech or Cincinnati on the road, you don't have to win both. If you win one of those and then take care of business at home, you're in your Big 12 championship out in Texas.
Yeah. All right. So we're both riding high off of BYU. It's only win I've taken in a long time, so that made me feel very good. But let's get into last episode. We did our best take going. And this week, we're going to start off with our worst take going. And I'll just get this out of the way for both of us. We both picked LSU to upset Texas A&M. And, at halftime, we were feeling pretty good about ourselves, right? LSU had the lead. Death Valley was rocking. And then Marcel Reed and his cast of wide receivers and running backs and Texas A&M just completely put it on LSU. And now Brian Kelly's fired. So not only did we think LSU was going to upset Texas A&M and potentially, not save Kelly's job, but definitely save his job for the weekend. They played so badly that LSU said, cannot go on any longer. That's how bad we were. And we're going to wear that. And I think we should wear, because this is sports. Sports is meant to have fun. You don't get every opinion right. And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. We airballed very badly. We airballed on this one, but Jack, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be gun shy next time we pick an upset.
Neither am I, and I think if that's an airball, then I've airballed about 7 times with my worst take, because the team that I thought was going to be one of the worst in the NFL is now 7-1. And looking like a really good football team. So my worst take has been the Colts. As you guys are aware, I mean, I said that they were not going to be good. They had a quarterback battle between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson.
Right.
And that's all I needed to hear in the offseason to say these Colts are going to be awful. But I was wrong. And it all starts with Jonathan Taylor for the Colts.
Right. And
He
that
has
offensive
12.
line.
Oh my gosh. It's absolutely nuts. So that is definitely my worst take, probably of my whole life, is saying that the Colts were going to be probably 1-7 at this point, but they're 7-1. So there you go.
That's all right. I mean, when they were 3-1 or whatever, you were expecting Daniel Jones to turn back into a pumpkin, but I don't know
He
if
certainly is not.
I don't know if he's going to turn back into a pumpkin. I'm not sure I'm not sure exactly how it's going to end. I could definitely see the Colts kind of teetering off like the Vikings did last season. Like this situation feels very similar to what happened with the Vikings and Sam Darnold last season, but for right now, I mean, they look unstoppable. You can't stop their running game, and they have Daniel Jones who just puts the ball where it needs to. And the Colts receivers are really good and they make plays too, like Michael Pittman, Josh Downs. They drafted Tyler Warren, who's one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Jack, uh, it's not on our list, but were you celebrating National Tight End Day? Because it felt like every single touchdown, at least in the early window today, was caught by a tight end.
Yeah. It was a good day to have any tight end in your flex position, fantasy wise, because it also felt like no one else on the skill positions was doing anything in that first window either. And so if you have a tight end, if you have heavy tight ends on your team, then it was a good day for you because holy
Unless
cow,
Jake Ferguson was your tight end,
that is true.
then he did not get you a single point. So
Yep.
R.I.P. me. It's just been that year in fantasy for me, but that's besides the point.
But even tonight, I mean, Justin Tucker had himself another game. So,
Right.
I mean, it was just tight end day, which I love.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's nothing I love more than, multiple tight ends, in on a play, and then you get the little play action, tight end delay. I mean, you can run four verts and all that stuff, but you get the ball to the tight end over and over again. There's just up the seam or whatever. Like nothing makes me happier than seeing a quarterback uses tight ends because one, as we see in certain situations, if you can't throw to your tight end and you can't throw over the middle of the field, Kyler Murray, your offense struggles and it really sucks. And so, the best quarterbacks are able to use their tight ends and, open up the middle of the field. And it just, honestly, being able to throw to a tight end opens up your entire offense in the NFL. And if you can do it, great. And if you can't do it, then your offense probably stinks. So, but anyway, Jack, let's get into kind of a ho-hum, kind of sleepy, honestly, slate of NFL games. I mean, just looking at it, I think there was one, maybe two games that finished at like within one possession of each other. And that game was the Poo Poo Jets versus the, I guess, I don't know how to classify the Bengals because like they're okay. They're okay with Joe Flacco, but like the defense is still bad. And it just, they can score points, but the Jets finally got their win. There's no more winless teams in the NFL this season. The Jets finally got their win. Jack, what was your reaction to this Jets Bengals game?
Yeah, I mean, it finally happened. I think with this Jets team, it was don't be that team that they beat. And
Right.
the Bengals ended up being that team after being up by an astronomical number in the third quarter. I mean,
Yeah.
they got outscored 23-7 in the fourth.
My gosh, it was bad.
And so that's the biggest thing to me. But the biggest takeaway for the Jets, I mean, give them their flowers. I think they finally used Brees Hall in the way that Brees Hall is supposed to be used. They gave him the ball. He went for 133 yards on the ground,
He was
2
awesome.
touchdowns. He was amazing. Threw for a touchdown. Breece Hall really did it all for the Jets, and Justin Fields played really well as well. I mean, if you're giving up 40 points in the NFL, you're probably going to lose.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought about the Jets because they gave up 38. And so I don't really know what else to say about this. I mean, it was just a very weird game because I turned it off. And then I saw the Jets were down 7 points, and I was like, what happened? So I had to rewatch that. But, I mean, hey, the Jets won. I don't think there's a winless team anymore in the NFL.
Yeah. The my big takeaway from this, Spirodides and the whoever his color commentary was, they were questioning why the Jets were going for 2 when they were down 14. And it made me so angry, Jack, because I don't know the analytics why, but all I know is that the analytics tell you to always go for 2 when you're down 14. And everyone knows that. Every coach in the NFL does that. I just don't understand when, you're paid a lot of money to broadcast these NFL games and you sit there for 5 minutes saying, "Oh, I don't know if the Jets should go for 2. It doesn't seem like a smart decision," where literally like every other person watching the game that at least like follows football and understands at least like the base concepts of analytics and whatnot, they all know that you're supposed to go for 2 down 14. So just hearing them just talk about that for 5 minutes was honestly, usually watching Jets football is pretty awful. Listening to Spirodides is honestly worse sometimes because and guess what, Bengals fans? Spirodides was the guy who called Cardinals Titans. So I know all about watching your team absolutely just roll over and die in a fourth quarter with Spirodides on the call. And it is a personal level of hell that you don't understand because he's always put on the worst game because he's the worst NFL broadcaster. And then you just have to listen. I'm sorry, it's true, Jack. It's. I just felt bad for Bengals fans because I experienced what they experienced a couple weeks ago, and their season's over. The Cardinals season has been over for a very long time, so we don't need to rehash that. But just listening to that, I could not. I had some war flashbacks to the Titans game, and that sucked.
I mean, right, exactly, and I don't understand it because the math is so simple. When you're down 14, you go for 2 because you're saying there's no way we shouldn't be stopped twice 2 yards from the end zone.
Right.
And if that happens, then you're tied anyway. And if you take care of business how you should, every team in the NFL should be able to get 2 yards. And so if you take care of that, you end up winning the game. And that's exactly what the Jets did.
Yep. All right. I mean, outside of that, Jack, I mean, unfortunately, we had one of the more horrific NFL injuries that you'll see. Probably the worst one we'll see this season, I don't want to even imagine what could be worse than what we saw for Cam Scataboo today against when the Giants were playing the Eagles. Just a rough thing to see, especially, he was becoming like one of the stars in the NFL. Like just everyone loved watching him play. He's in college, if you followed Arizona State at all, Cam Scataboo's an incredible guy, incredible story. And to see him go down today was really sad. Pour one out to my guy Cam Scataboo.
He also he's the heart of that team.
Yeah.
Like he truly is, and that's what makes me the saddest for that injury is like he was quite literally the heart and soul of that team. Like it was fun to watch the Giants again. And it was because of that guy. They were entertaining on and off the field because of that guy. Yep. I mean, I actually wanted to watch Giants highlights and Giants post-game shows because you just hear Cam Scataboo in the background just screaming as loud as he can. It's just like how can you not like that guy? How can you not cheer for that guy?
You love that guy.
you just, I mean, it's just terrible. You just feel so bad, especially after the neighbor's injury a few weeks ago, and now
Oh my
Scataboo's
gosh.
out. I mean, it's really, really sad. But I mean, if you watch the injury happen, like he puts up both his arms, acting like he was ready to get up. Like
Yeah.
you can't fault the guy for heart, for really feeling anything. I mean, he truly is like one of the best dudes in the NFL, and his career is just getting started. He's gonna be right back, and I'm excited for Cam Scataboo.
Yeah. Your mic is giving a lot of like feedback or something. I'm not sure. I'm wondering if it's maybe like the cord or just like if the cord's like moving or something while you're talking. I'm not sure what it doesn't sound like you it doesn't sound like the mic is working now. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. Let's see. What'd you just say? Okay. Yeah, it just sucks. I mean, yeah, the Giants could have been such a fun story this year, like you were saying. Neighbors goes down, Scataboo goes down. Jackson Dart is out there, you know, gunslinger. You don't know where the football's going. It could be picked. It could be a touchdown. Like you just never know with him right now, which is it is fun to watch as a casual viewer because like it's never not exciting when Jackson Dart's on the field. It doesn't necessarily mean winning, but yeah, unfortunately, like the Giants just keep going down, and the Eagles just honestly they just mollywopped them. Saquon got hurt too, which is something to keep your eyes on as far as looking forward. Jack, maybe a little Tank Bigsby fantasy, maybe hit the waiver wire this week and see if you can take Tank Bigsby for your fantasy football team.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think that a lot of people dropped Tank Bigsby after he got traded to the Eagles just because of
Right.
that situation. I mean, no one behind Saquon Barkley is ever going to get 10 plus attempts a game. And
Yeah.
so if he does miss time, Tank Bigsby is the best backup in the NFL, in my opinion. He's very
Yeah.
explosive, very just anything you want out of a backup. And so if Tank Bigsby's available, I mean, you might as well throw him on the bench because Saquon Barkley can be missing time.
Yep. All right. One interesting matchup what from this week was the Ravens and Bears. So the Ravens came into the game with a 4-game losing streak. Bears came in with a 4-game win streak. And we saw the Ravens really were in control of this game for the most part. Chicago, kept trying to they got down 2 possessions and then they just kind of kept trying to get back into it, but never really super frightened the Ravens. Do you think obviously Lamar didn't play this game still, but do you think with Lamar potentially coming back next week, or even if they have, Snoop Huntley, do you think the Ravens are still alive, considering what we've seen from the other teams in the AFC North?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they should have rolled out Tyler Huntley from the beginning
Yeah. Cooper
because,
Rush thing was weird.
well, it's not just like hindsight's 2020. I mean, I truly do. Once they said they were playing Tyler Huntley today, I was like, that makes sense because
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley is the Walmart version of Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Like they're very similar in that play style, and so I was like, oh, why don't you just bring out the guy that actually plays like your starter, just a little worse? And so
Right.
and so that's the biggest takeaway I had from this Ravens team is like, why didn't they bring out the guy that plays like the starter instead of Cooper Rush?
And especially a guy that they already had on their team in past Ravens seasons. He already knows what to do, and everything like that. So I'm not sure why they weren't playing Snoop from the beginning. I mean, guy went to a Pro Bowl, and I know Pro Bowls mean next to nothing, but like he still at least was good enough to kind of get to a Pro Bowl. And the fact that they played Cooper Rush for those couple of games was just just mind-boggling. Obviously, if Lamar comes back, who knows what this team can do. But yeah, I mean, the Bears honestly kind of looked like the Bears again. Caleb, it's very like two steps forward, one step back, a step forward, two steps back this season so far. I like the direction the Bears are headed in, but today was definitely a step back for him. But Jack, let's get to the fun stuff. The SEC on Saturday was like top to bottom, just about I think every single game that they played on Saturday was electric. And we'll start in not Brian Denny. We'll start with Alabama, South Carolina. South Carolina was leading Alabama for most of the game. They had the ball to go down and potentially win the game and fumbled and gave Alabama the chance they needed to go down and win the game. Were you more alarmed by Alabama's performance, or is it you just got to win games in the SEC, don't care how it gets done?
I think it comes to that, especially on the road in the
Yeah.
SEC. I mean, it's just very, very difficult to win on the road in the SEC. And so I'm not worried about Alabama as much as I'm just thinking, okay, Alabama won on the road against a really good South Carolina team. And so at the end of the day, Alabama is legit. And I think they are going to be one of those top four teams competing for that national championship this year, as you predicted week 1 or 2.
Yeah, so you take your swings. Sometimes you hit a home run with Alabama, and sometimes you strike out. But obviously, I was rooting for Alabama because obviously rooting to be right is one of the most important things. But just the thing that and this I'm stealing this from my little brother. But anytime you see a student section all go down to the bottom of the stadium to prepare to storm the field before the game's over, especially if you're not ahead. Like, just think you put some bad juju on your teams, man. Like, don't count your chicks before they're hatched, right? I think that's the saying. So, yeah, just for any college kids out there listening, like when you do that, you're putting some dark magic on your team, and you don't want that karma, because when you walk down to prepare to storm the field and then you lose, oh, it's 100 times worse. It feels 100 times worse than if you had never got that excited in the first place. So
We need a stat on that. We need to figure
yeah,
out we need to figure out how many what what the win loss is for fans almost getting ready to storm the field.
yes, the almost storm win counter. I mean, let's see. We can start it right now. The stats there, it's 0-1 right now. We'll keep track for the rest of
Keep
the
it up.
season. Yeah. So the stats 0-1 right now. Lenore Sellers, really good football player, but not enough to take down an Alabama team that was playing with its food for the entire game. Next game that we'll get into, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Oklahoma, I guess, hadn't played a top 70 defense in the country, or excuse me, Oklahoma hadn't played a top 70 offense in the country before playing Ole Miss. And anyone who's saying this defense was like, the best defense, Greg McElroy was out there saying, you have the best defense in the country. There were other people who were like, Oklahoma's a top 5, top 10 defense. Well, after this data point, no, sir. They just played bad offenses. Like, they're good defense. They're definitely, top 20, top 30, but not a defense that's going to get you to the playoff.
Right. And that's exactly what I wanted to bring up was everyone talking about how this Oklahoma team had a top 5 defense, but the best offense they played was against Michigan with a true freshman starting at quarterback, which he
In
is
his
a
first road
very
start.
right. And so, I mean, they just haven't been tested, and Ole Miss has one of the greatest offenses this year. Um,
Yes. So good.
and they looked amazing doing it, and this
Yeah.
was one that I picked. I picked Ole Miss to get it done on the road. It was ugly here and there for Ole Miss when they were up 12 and went for it in their own 30. I was like, okay, they're just trying to lose this game, I guess.
Yes, they were. Well, because they actually got down 26 to
They did.
25, which, can we pause for a second? That is one of the worst football scores I've ever seen in my life. Just guys, just keep the scores looking good. Like, I don't know what it is about like a good looking football score, but you know, that 25-26, it wasn't the final, but just seeing that on the scoreboard made my blood boil.
Yep, it is true. You want to see like the 28-24.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, we saw safety, you really got everything in this game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, as a football fan, this was probably one of the greater games that we've seen all season. And Ole Miss came up on top and I am grateful for that because I think Ole Miss is one of the best teams in the country, and they showed that they got a
Yeah.
quality win on the road.
Yeah. I mean, I think winning that game almost virtually, I mean, they can afford another loss
Mhm.
now, and I don't think they lose two more times to end the season. So like we're getting to the point where a lot of these SEC teams are starting to pull away, and they're, I mean, we're not putting them into the playoff in pen yet, but Ole Miss is one of those teams that I think you can write down in pencil right now, just as far as how their schedule looks for the end of the season. Another team that we might starting to write down in pencil, Jack, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt took care of Missouri. It was ugly. It was, a lot of punts, a lot of red zone stands by the defense. Like both teams were going for it and not getting it. But Vandy had game day there. They had all the energy. They completely slowed down Missouri. Obviously, Bo Perbula goes down in the third quarter, which basically sealed it for him. But I mean, we talked about it last week. We talked about how Vandy had a 40 something% chance to make the college football playoff, and now it's like, man, you beat Tennessee at the end of the season, and you're right there. Well, who do they have? They have someone good this week too.
They play Texas on the road. So they
Yeah,
have to
okay,
go
so
to Texas. But I think they get it done against Texas. And then you got to beat Auburn at home and Kentucky at home, and then you got
yep,
Tennessee on the road.
yeah,
And so I think if you finish the season 3-1, you're in, which is
right,
very, very, very likely for this Vanderbilt team.
yeah. The next game we'll get to, last game, well, second to last game in the SEC, Texas Mississippi State. Jack, not sure. We were locked in on the BYU game, but if you changed it to SEC Network right after the game, you saw one of the most ridiculous, craziest college football games ever. And Jack, I just can't understand why you would punt to the best punt returner in the country.
Yeah.
I
If you're a Mississippi State fan, I am sorry because this year has just been nothing but devastation. And right as
yes,
Mississippi State gives you hope, they rip it out of your hands. So
they
this
were up
Mississippi,
38 to
I mean,
21
this
with
team is
9 minutes
good.
left in the fourth
Mississippi
quarter.
State is good. They just
Just not
they
good
just
at
can't finish.
winning games.
They can't finish the game. And
Yeah,
so, I mean, that's really the only takeaway I have. I still don't think Texas looks good. I think they're ranked
yeah.
because of the name on their jerseys, and their quarterback is named Arch Manning.
Who
But
died?
right, he
Yeah,
did
we'll see.
indeed.
We'll see if he's playing against Vanderbilt,
That's a good point.
because he did not look like he knew what planet he was on when
Mm-mm.
he was in the injury tent.
Yeah. So lots of stories out there, but I mean, honestly, Mississippi State, I'm sorry. It's just been a very, very brutal year for you guys.
Yeah, the Tennessee game, the Florida game where you just throw it
So
to the
many.
to the defensive end. This game, like, oh my gosh, like, if I think they have 4 wins, if I'm thinking right. I think they had 4 wins. If they get this game, all they have to do is pick off one more one more team. Maybe they get like a Kentucky or
Yeah.
South Carolina type team that they can beat and get to a bowl game. That would have been awesome for them. Instead, I mean,
Nothing.
it's just brutal. It's just brutal to be I mean, I can't imagine being a Mississippi State
So
fan.
sad.
I mean, there are certain teams in my life that make me want to that are pushing me to the edge where all my friends are dead. But if I was a Mississippi State fan, that loss would haunt me for a long, long time. Texas A&M, LSU. Obviously, we covered it at the beginning. Like LSU, good first half, horrible second half. Texas A&M, I mean, they did it. They got Brian Kelly fired. Like, and you go into Death Valley and you win, and you get that coach fired. I mean, I think it's them and Indiana are in the argument for, best team or the second best team in the country outside of Ohio State. Like, they don't play Alabama, but they probably will in the SEC championship game. I think they're the best team in the SEC. I know I've been tooting the Alabama horn all season long, but man, dude, that's the best team in the SEC right there. That was
Right.
my big takeaway. What was
Oh,
yours?
100%. And this was the last test for Texas A&M, in my opinion. I don't
Yes.
see them slipping up. I think they finished the season 12-0 going into the SEC championship, and it's going to be a classic against Alabama if everything folds up the way that we're expecting it to. I don't see Texas A&M slipping up at Missouri or at Texas to end the season, and then they play Samford in South Carolina at home. So, I mean, this Texas A&M team is legit, and this was the one I had circled of them. Is this a legit title contending team? And they went
Yes.
into Death Valley, got it done by multiple scores, and so they are indeed a very, very dangerous team come playoff time.
Yeah. I mean, Heisman Trophy wise, like, I know
Marcel
we've talked
Reed,
Ty Simpson. I know we've talked Indiana's quarterback, Jeremiah Smith. Dude, what Marcel Reed can do on the ground with his legs, as well as the guys he's throwing to, because like obviously, like maybe if you're like drafting teams, like maybe you take Ty Simpson or another quarterback in the country over him. But honestly, he's so elite with what he can do on the ground that just know maybe it's just because he's so different from every quarterback in the country. But I think they could be bringing home another Heisman Trophy winner in
they definitely can.
yeah and
Like
for
we
Texas
said, I
A&M.
mean, it's just wide open for the Heisman race,
Yeah,
which we haven't had in a long time. Which is
right,
that's the fun of it. So I
right.
definitely agree with that.
He goes into Texas on Thanksgiving. I hope that is that game on Thanksgiving. I have no idea. I hope it's usually been on Thanksgiving. In a long, long time
It's
ago.
the 28th.
Okay, I think that's the day after Thanksgiving. If it
Yes,
okay, so not Thanksgiving night, but Thanksgiving weekend, he goes out there and puts Texas in a grave. Like
I
that's
hope
definitely a
so.
Heisman moment, and an SEC championship game. Which if he goes out and wins that, and you're 13-0 in the SEC, and you're putting up the kind of numbers that he's gonna put up to end the season, like Marcel Reed's definitely a guy that I don't know if he wins it, but he's in New York. I think you can he's one of the top 4 guys I think in the country this season. We're 8 games in, we can say that now, you know. We're not halfway through the season and one team's only played like one Power 4 team. Like no, there's enough here where we can say like it's Ty Simpson, it's Marcel Reed, it's Indiana's quarterback, who I can't remember the name of right now to save my life, but they just keep blowing out whoever they play. It doesn't matter who's on the other side of the field. Like it's those guys. Maybe Jeremiah Love for Notre Dame, but that's honestly it for as far as the Heisman Trophy goes. Um, but yeah, just overall, if turn on the SEC and you're gonna watch good football.
Hmm.
And Jack, let's shift our focus over to the Big 12. That was the other conference that actually put forth a worthwhile product to watch on Saturday. We had ASU lose to Houston. So not only did Jordan Tyson's injury stop Arizona State from winning, but we saw Sam Levitt go down twice in this game. We saw their kicker just completely pee down his leg and just shank two of the easiest field goal attempts you'll ever see in your life. Arizona State, I've been pumping them up, and that balloon popped in a big way. They're not a good football team. They're a fine football team, but Sam Levitt is just too hurt. And, you know, they're honestly, too much was put on Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson this season for them to reach their goals of, you know, repeating as Big 12 champs.
No, I definitely agree, and I think we should give the flowers to Houston as well.
You're right.
And I think they're ranked too low in the AP. I mean, what has Cincinnati done that Houston hasn't done? If we're being completely honest, not much, because I think Houston is just as good of a team as Cincinnati, as BYU, as Utah, obviously as Arizona State. So I mean, Houston is slowly having quite the season. I mean, they're 7-1, tied for third in the conference right now with Texas Tech. Houston's a good football team, and they're fun to watch. And I think Houston is flying under everyone's radar, which, I mean, you can't at this point when someone's 7-1.
Definitely not. Speaking of Texas Tech, we saw Baron Morton obviously not play again, and then we saw Will Hammond. The news came out today that he has a torn ACL and he's out for the season. So, Jack, I don't know. You've been riding Texas Tech high all season. Or are you officially off the Texas Tech bandwagon with the situation at quarterback?
I'm not completely off. It is worrisome to go into Kansas State because they can play spoiler to you. And if you lose to Kansas State, you're most likely not playing in Texas at the end of the season. But I'm not completely writing them off just because of this defense that they have. I still think it's the best defense in the Big 12. Spent a lot of money getting those guys, and it's proven to work. And so that's the only reason I'm not writing them off, is because they gave up 0 points again to the worst team in the Big 12. But again, I mean, this defense has shown time in and time out that they are legit.
Yeah, only one team has put up more than 14 points against them all season.
Nuts.
And it was Sam Levitt and an ungodly performance from Jordan Tyson that took to beat him. Unfortunately, Will Hammond's out for the season, which really sucks. I mean, you know, he hadn't, obviously against Arizona State, he didn't play well, but, you know, he's a high-profile recruit and, you know, has showed flashes of being a really good quarterback. I think if you can get Baron Morton healthy for the rest of the season, I think you can still, you know, believe in Texas Tech as, you know, kind of the team we thought they were halfway through the season. But if he's banged up at all, Jack, like, I honestly don't even think they'll make it to the Big 12 championship game if he doesn't play every game for them. Excuse me, for the rest of the season.
No, I definitely agree. I'm looking up to see if Morton's going to come back at any time, and I honestly don't know if he is. So, I mean, that's the thing. If you don't have a quarterback, the quarterback plays defense, as we talked about with Sam Levitt missing the game against Utah. If you can sustain drives on offense, you're giving your defense quite a bit of rest, which is something that Texas Tech has been able to do again this year. And so I'm going to be interested to see if Morton doesn't play against Kansas State, how that's going to look.
All right. And then let's take a little deep dive into BYU Iowa State. You know, we saw BYU come out flat. They were down 24-10. And I believe they were also down 21-7 as well. That's the furthest the lead's ever gotten. But Jack, this is the second time in Big 12 play that they've gone down 14. It's the third time they've gone down double digits. And they just keep finding a way to get back into these games. There's never any panic. Even when LJ Martin goes down and the entire fan base is Canceling their tickets that they already booked to Texas for the Big 12 championship game. But man, they come out, they just don't stop. Whether they're up or they're down, they just keep doing what they do, and whatever's in front of them, they just roll over them, and they did that with Iowa State this game.
No, I 100% agree, and I'll continue to toot the defense's horn because I mean they came up with 3 turnovers, a fourth one coming during special teams, and that's really what swung the whole game.
Right.
Is that special teams turnover led to points for BYU. They had the pick six at the end of the game to really shut any chance down for Iowa State. And we need to start talking about this BYU team being legit because my friend sent me this thing is like what sports pundits say they want to see from BYU to accept that they're legit. And it's like blow out bad teams, win close games, win win a game on the road against a good team. Adversity, beat a ranked team, avoid a trap game, win on the ground game, win in the air. And we've seen it all. Like I said at the beginning, I mean, we've seen that all happen with BYU this season at some point or another. They've won in those multiple ways. And so is it time to talk that BYU is legit and they could make noise in the playoffs?
I mean, it is time, but as we know, BYU just once you buy in, Jack, once you buy in and once everyone starts to buy in, we know what happens. Unfortunately, the wheels just come off. For whatever reason, when we're 8-0, 9-0, and we're like and we can taste it. Like, right? We can taste the Big 12 championship. When BYU's 4-0, I'm 14 years old thinking that Taysom Hill might win a Heisman that season in 2014 against Virginia. I'm like, my gosh, this is the best quarterback BYU's had in 20 years. And then the next game, he goes out and breaks his leg. We've seen it with Zach Wilson in 2020. Sorry, Zach, but you went to Coastal Carolina and you guys did not play well. Like, they just didn't. In 2021, when we were, I can't remember what we were. Were we 12 in the country, like top 10 maybe in the country, and Boise State came in and
I think
honestly,
we're 9.
yeah, they put it on us. And then the next week we go to Baylor and we lose that one by 17. And then in 2024 we come off the Utah win. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't a great game, but we won and we came off the Utah win like, oh my gosh, all we have to do is go 2-1 to finish the season and we're going to make the Big 12 championship game. And they went 1-2. They went 1-2. They lost the game to Kansas that they just shouldn't have lost. So it scares me, Jack. I would much prefer us to just pretend that BYU isn't that good still because it's the best position for them to be in for whatever reason. I do think they're good. My only pushback against the Bear Bachmeier hype train is that this Iowa State pass defense might be one of the worst pass defenses in the country. With all of the injuries that they've sustained in their secondary, I mean, there's no one back there, if we're being honest. Like, I think every quarterback in the Big 12 is going to throw 300 plus against them for the rest of the season. Just with how poor their secondary is. So obviously them coming back and getting the stops in the second half defensively, I knew if they could get it to a one possession game at halftime that they were going to win because guess what? I've seen Jay Hill's defense do this over and over again where, they look bad for a half, but they figure it out. They come together, they figure it out, they make the right adjustments, and they completely turn off the water for the opposing offense in the second half. We saw it again. They scored 3 points after halftime. Like, it's just what Jay Hill does. I know it's going to happen. The question is, can we, hopefully hold teams to less than 24 points before then? That would be nice, but I'm buying stock on this BYU team. Hopefully LJ's back for Texas Tech, and if he is and Baron Morton's not playing or not 100%, like Jack, I think BYU is gonna. I think BYU is gonna win that game, and all they have to do is beat one of TCU or UCF to
Seen this story
honestly
before.
to seal their spot in a Big 12 championship game. Yes, unfortunately, we've seen this story before, so it scares me. But I want to dive in on loving this BYU team. But past history has told me that it will just end with my heartbreaking in just an awful way.
Yep. That is all we get for BYU fans. But they hit a much needed bye week, which I
Yes.
think is going to help them quite a bit against this Texas Tech team. And it's just a massive week for them. And then Texas Tech has to go on the road and face a solid Kansas State team. So, I mean, the cards are in BYU's favor. Hopefully they're going to be underdogs still, which they most likely will be against this Texas Tech team.
Yeah.
Which is where you want to be as a BYU fan and if you're on the team.
Just a couple of things to hit on. Nope, sorry, they're not the AAC anymore. The American Conference, USF Memphis, like we predicted, Memphis went in there and took it to USF. That conference is wide open. Going to be a fun November to watch there. Virginia, who is leading the ACC right now, along with Georgia Tech, survived North Carolina. That game was just stupid. The Virginia is a team where BYU does not entertain North Carolina on the field at all. But Virginia does. The ACC, just tired of hearing that they're a better conference than the Big 12. Not the case.
They're not.
Big 12 teams don't play around with North Carolina like that. But Virginia did make it out with a win, which is the most important thing, because what matters more than how you look in those games is how many losses you have in the L column at the end of the season for the committee. So Virginia still has a case, I guess, even though I just don't think they're that good. So lastly, Jack, to end the podcast, we're going to end with our early bird gets the worm. So I'll go first again because you have a banger. But I believe now that Auburn, in a game we didn't talk about, Auburn won a football game and they benched Jackson Arnold. Finally benched Jackson Arnold. And guess what? They won a football game and they're going to beat Alabama. That's my early bird take. They're going to beat Alabama 1. Alabama's going to have it all locked up for the SEC championship game. So they're going to come in a little flat. Auburn's going to try and save the season for Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze saves his job by beating Alabama rivalry weekend, but in the long run, it doesn't affect Alabama at all.
I love it. That can happen. I love that pick. My early bird is Utah shows why they shouldn't be contending in the Big 12 against Cincinnati this upcoming weekend. And I say that because I'm frustrated on the fact that they're now ranked again, that they, after beating a decent Colorado team by a lot of points.
Don't be nice. Don't be nice. They're not decent.
I'm trying to be unbiased as possible.
They beat Colorado by a lot, but the towel's been thrown in.
Right. And so that's what I see with Utah is they beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. And then when they have the coin flip games, they lose handily. Yep. And so I think this is another coin flip type game against Cincinnati. And I'm going to see that Utah shows their weaknesses again. Cincinnati's going to exploit those weaknesses, and Cincinnati is going to push Utah further away and essentially out of Big 12 championship contention.
I love to see it. Jack, it must be so nice to be a Utah fan, right? You lose to your rival, and 2 weeks later, College game day shows up on your campus again.
We love it.
It must be awesome to be a Utah fan, doesn't it? I mean, you lose to your rival, and guess what? It doesn't matter because College game day is still coming to your campus. So happy for you, Utah fans. You guys deserve this. Anything that the national media can do to help you feel better after losing to BYU, they're going to do it. So congratulations on game day. That's your consolation prize. Yeah. Anyway,
Use down.
use down. That
I mean, I definitely agree though, 100%. I mean, yeah, sure, you got the top 25 matchup, but I truly do believe Utah was put into the top 25 so they can feel better about having this college football game day at Utah this week to cross off the Big 12, that they went to the Big 12, they showed their support for the Big 12, and then they're going to be right back in the SEC. And that's no shot against Utah. It's no shot against Cincinnati. It's a shot that College Game Day only cares about the SEC. They don't care about high-profile games because if they did, they would be at BYU Utah last week or 2 weeks ago, and we wouldn't be talking about this. And so that's my biggest thing of the college football game day and all this nonsense with Utah and Cincinnati. No shade, no disrespect to Utah. They're a really good football team this year. But it is frustrating to see they lose to the big teams and then they beat the teams that they're supposed to beat by 30 and they're somehow ranked in the top 25 again.
Yeah, just yeah, congratulations Utah. Hope you love your ranking. Hope you love College Game Day, but just know when you guys chant FBYU on College Game Day, we beat you again. Sorry, little brothers. And Jack, I can't think of a better way to end the show with that. So, see you next time for a little NBA. We'll talk
Beautiful.
NBA. Jack, college basketball's around the corner. Think we can get a college basketball preview this week?
We'll get one.
All right,
We will
let's
get
do
one.
it. We'll see you guys next time.